Hey, how's it going, doing? Alliance team. So my name is Jairo, one of the coaches here at Alliance in Key Biscayne. We're adding a new mobility class on Fridays at 11, and most people ask me, what is mobility? So there's a difference between mobility and flexibility. Most people understand flexibility. Flexibilities are things like yoga, so forth. Mobility is a little bit different. Flexibility is what's called passive range of motion, and mobility is what's called active range of motion. And the difference between passive and active is your own muscle power is causing the range of motion. Passive range of motion is some external force, either the wall or somebody helping you stretch is what's causing the actual range of motion. So what I want to do is teach you a little bit to understand what you're actually doing in the mobility class. Okay, so there's two different benefits to actually doing the mobility class. The first thing is at the joint level or at the capsule. Basically, what we're trying to do is that everybody has some type of either discomfort or some type of imbalance, usually in most joint structures. So the whole goal behind the mobility is to increase the actual range of motion. Most of us, if you ever try doing certain things with your shoulder, will have something where it's like this, and like this, and like that. So it's not like a complete circle. So what that does is not only put stress on the actual capsule, but it limits your range of motion at the actual joint level. So understand that the whole goal behind the mobility is to get rid of these errors that's happening at the joint level. So one of the things that you learn in the mobility class is what I call joint strength training, or it's a fancy name called CARS, but we'll get into that in another video. The whole idea is that the capsule then is healthier. The healthier the capsule is, the larger the range of motion you have, and the less likely you are to actually accidentally injure yourself, especially with doing jiu-jitsu because it's all joint locks. That's the first benefit. The second benefit is the actual at the muscle tissue, okay? So where the muscle tissue is strong is in the middle here. Okay, so pretend that this is bone. Pretend this is bone. Okay, this is like the simplest form. It's not the exact science. I just want you to understand the concept here. Okay, this is where you're strong, right here. This zone right here. This section is where you're weak. Okay, so the goal here is what we do is we do passive range of motion or passive stretching, so that right now your range of motion where you're strong is right here. Your actual passive range of motion is an additional amount of degrees. Then what we do is we work out in this zone right here so that the following time you now have a slightly bigger range of motion. But this section right here is where you're weak. This is where you get hurt. This is where the problem is. So the more that you're able to move this strength profile from the midline closer and closer to the joint level, not only is the whole muscle stronger, but then again, the whole at the tendon level is going to get stronger, which reduces your risk of injury. So there's two benefits here. You increase the capsule and you increase the range of motion at the muscle belly because you're stronger where you're actually weak, because we're doing exercises that make that flexibility increase. Okay, so the goal here is not mobility. The goal here is to increase the strength where you're weak at the muscle tissue and increase what's called the workspace at the capsule level. And in turn, you get mobility. Hope that answered your questions. Those guys.